Hi, I'm Irene Tansman, author of Abie and Arlene's Autism War. If you have a loved one enrolled in a rehabilitation facility in Massachusetts, or you're considering rehabilitation for your loved one with IDD, or you yourself are enrolled in a rehabilitation facility in Massachusetts, please consider joining the Rehabilitation Families in Massachusetts Facebook group. Today, I'd like to talk to you about two after you die topics. One is about writing a letter of intent, and the other is about determining how much money you need to put into a supplemental special needs trust. I am not a financial planner or a lawyer, but I am currently going through the process of putting my own affairs in order. I don't know all the answers. I appreciate both positive and negative feedback on this most important topic. The letter of intent is a document that functions as a roadmap for guardians and trustees and other advocates who will succeed you after you die or become incapacitated. This document, the letter of intent, makes your wishes known. They may not necessarily be fulfilled, but if the roadmap is reasonable, you have a good chance of your wishes for your loved one being fulfilled. The letter of intent is not a legal document or a binding document, but it should be kept with your will, trust documents, and other important papers. There are many examples of letters of intent for special needs families on the web. There is no right way or wrong way to write these letters. It depends on your child's needs and the resources available to your adult child. I made a special document for my followers and subscribers. I took the letter of intent that I wrote for my son and I removed and changed some of the identifying information. This document is available on my website so that you can see what I wrote and how I wrote it. You can think of this as a sample letter of intent, for you to look at. It's not necessarily what you might want, but it's always good to look at a sample of what somebody else wrote. So once I wrote the letter of intent, it was easier to determine how much money we needed for my son's trust, because the letter outlined what we wanted to happen with our son after our deaths. When writing this letter of intent, I had to come to the realization that nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to do for my son what I do. I had to make peace with that. And I had to just do the best that I could for Isaac. I had to come to terms that a parent, any parent, regardless of whether your child has a disability, no parent can protect their child from every danger or bad situation they might encounter. It's just not possible. All you can do is the best you can do. So I started from the thought of, what do I want to do with Isaac, along with what are reasonable duties for a guardian and trustee, someone who isn't me? What would someone else who isn't me be willing to do for Isaac? First, I wanted to relieve any burdens from the guardians that could be taken care of in another way. My son's provider agency has offered several times to be Isaac's representative payee. A representative payee is the person who oversees the checking account that receives Isaac's Social Security check. When I die, the provider agency will get this job unless the guardian says otherwise. Yes, the provider agency will determine how some of Isaac's money gets spent, but they also must deal with the yearly audits, saving the receipts, and all the hassles that come with the task. The provider agency has also volunteered to fill out the yearly 50-plus page Mass Health re-enrollment form. They offer to do these things, and that's a couple fewer things for the successor guardian to do. I also pondered over visitation. While it would be wonderful for Isaac to have regular visits, and I certainly encourage that, I would love that, I'm not sure that the guardians I pick will be able to live locally for their entire lives. I prefer guardians who are relatives, and I would be eliminating some good possibilities if I wanted or asked for weekly visits. So I determined that most of the oversight and case management I asked for could be done remotely, and I would only ask for a visit once a year. This is far from ideal, but there is a limit to the burden that I will place on others. If they want to visit him every week, that would be great, but I'm not going to ask that. Third, I considered whether guardians and trustees would be paid or volunteer. Someone on our Facebook group suggested that relatives should be willing to do this out of the goodness of their hearts. I left the option to be paid open because I didn't want anyone to suffer financial hardship because they were advocating for Isaac. There is also a possibility that sometime down the road, no relative will be willing to take this on. So I need to leave open the option of using paid professional guardians and trustees. And I needed to figure out how to pay for this, which leads me to the second topic of the video: how much money do I need for the Special Needs Trust? It's a lot easier to determine how much money we need for the Special Needs Trust now that Isaac is an adult. Basically, I look at what we're spending now. What do we subsidize for him? The only a large additional expense that he might have after I die is overseeing his care, the case management piece, something I do now for free. Most of his expenses are paid through government benefits. So I just needed to figure out how much money he will need for that case management. Add the incidentals I currently paid for and add a little extra just in case I'm off or he needs something that I didn't foresee. I'm sorry I can't give you an exact number, and I know that's what my viewers want, an exact number. But determining how much money you need for a special needs trust is a little bit like determining how much money you need for retirement. If you go travel a lot and you have very expensive tastes, well, then you're going to need a lot of money. And if you're happy staying at home and you don't have expensive tastes, well, maybe you need a little bit less for retirement. The same thing is true for the Special Needs Trust. It all depends on what your child needs. If your child's government pays for all of his or her expenses currently, and you have relatives willing to take over as successor guardians and trustees for free, you might not even need money in a special needs trust. If your child is higher functioning and loves vacations and wants to take them a couple of times a year and needs an aide or a traveling companion, and he has expensive taste, well, then you're going to need more in the Special Needs Trust. I hope you'll check out my sample letter of intent on my website. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.